let's go. Initially, we have with us representatives from the Sheriff's Office. I'm not sure, is that under Rick's portion of the agenda or Brand? Okay, if you could initiate that, then we'll have a brief discussion on this and get you guys back to work. Well, you're kind of at work now, but
Right.
back to jail and work.
We have here a resolution.
And I have some people I'd like you to take with you too.
Carpool. A resolution authorizing and enter into an agreement to accept male Summit County prisoners at the Stark County Jail if there is space available. Whereas Ohio Revised Code Section 341.12 authorizes the housing of the county's prisoners in another county. And whereas occasionally Summit County has the need to house its prisoners in another county. And whereas Stark County is willing to house such prisoners at a cost if it has room to accommodate them. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners authorizes itself to sign an agreement between itself and Summit County to house prisoners from Summit County at the Stark County Jail, provided there is room to do so.
Second.
We have a motion, a second then, to adopt the resolution as stated. Gentlemen, would you like to tell us just a little bit about this, about the daily rate, the term of the agreement, the purpose of the agreement, and so forth?
Yes, sir. Commissioner, we currently have been experiencing open beds at the Stark County Jail. We've met with Summit County Sheriff's Office, and we're having some concerns with some issues that they're having in their budget, et cetera, and they're looking at locations that they could possibly house other inmates. So we were thinking that with the possibilities of our population being down in the county jail and them needing someplace to store them, that we'd like to come into an agreement for the remainder of this year for us to house them. Talk about different amounts. We've discussed maybe up to 10, maybe as many as up to 20 if space allows. That's what we would like to do to help fill our beds, but also help Summit County out as well.
Okay, I guess one of the questions that I initially have, of course, we have a 501 or 502 bed jail capacity, and we see various numbers at different times of the year and so forth. What are we averaging by way of capacity that we would have excess beds to lease to Summit County?
Recently, it's been about 420 or less, so it leaves us about 80 excess beds. That obviously varies on a day-to-day basis.
I have several concerns. First of all, how much does it cost us when we put a prisoner in our jail? What is the cost attached to that?
Our Chief Financial Officer, Teresa, is working on coming up with an exact figure. Commissioner, she hasn't come to that. What we're using right now off of this rate of $70 is what it was last calculated at. That's why we were asking for some additional time. If we
When was that last calculated?
Well, that was when we had the litigation with Alliance and Mass, 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
And am I correct that we do charge the feds the $70?
Correct.
So in other words, though, and I'm going to say this and then you can counter it, is that Stark County taxpayers will be subsidizing other prisoners that come in here. Am I wrong? I must be wrong in my thinking.
Along the lines that you're thinking, I had the concern, and I mentioned those at Brand. I think that Brand has talked to the sheriff. I had a conversation with the sheriff. I wasn't sure whether he was going to come in today or not. That $70 did sound low to me because of the age of it and so forth. His response was a number that we have as of today. This is a year-to-year agreement that we intend to, and we are immediately beginning to re-examine that number and would be in a position to change that number after a short period of time. I guess in response to your question, to the extent that the beds are empty, whether there's 50 beds or 20 beds, I mean, we're actually collecting nothing, so collecting something for them is better than collecting nothing because we are, in fact, it's still costing us whatever it costs per bed per day because we don't lay officers off based upon a daily count. But I share your concerns as to whether or not this is the correct number and so forth, but beyond the correct number, I guess it's probably a good thing as long as we have beds that are not being used for whatever reason.
I got a question on when it comes to staffing levels. Does that vary by the amount of prisoners that are there, or is it just set that the staff is going to be there if there's 400 people in the jail or 500 people in the jail?
Right, it's pretty well set because you know, the jail's so large, when you have 10 people in one dorm, you can't mix it with the 10 people in the other dorm because of dissimilar classifications. So the whole jail is open right now, it's 100% staffed. Just, you know, personally, I don't know why the numbers are down.
Because, like I say, what would help us, by the way, if we could see some kind of a trend in the overall jail population, and I guess it's up to the judges. I mean, you know, you're the jailers and the sheriff's department, so you're not the individuals who are responsible for filling the beds, but the judges are. I don't know, I was always under the impression that we always had, you know, more potential, you know,
Well, that's why we
defendants,
passed the
more
sales tax,
more
because we went
potential
to
defendants to sentence to
501
the jail
beds.
than we had beds, so I guess
Right.
that's an area
Yeah.
of some inquiry for all of us.
Right, and then my other question would be, what kind of offenders are you talking about? I mean, are they?
Well, it could be you're talking about what Summit County's gonna send to us?
Right,
Usually what they're gonna send to us is the inmates that would be the least problematic, both of behavior as well as medical. Because they know that it's kinda like burning your bridges. You don't wanna send a problem child down to your sister agency and have to deal with them. So we do the same thing. when we
Well,
send
you
people
might.
out. Well, we do the same thing. We have to send somebody out somewhere, which we used to do years ago. We would not send somebody that had medical issues, had court, have behavior issues. Because you don't need to be putting your problem, you're handling onto somebody else, and they're gonna do the same thing. They're not gonna give us a problem child. You
No.
don't know what they're gonna be in jail for. You know, it could be domestic violence, it could be felonious assault, it could be drunk driving. It's hard to say.
on the medical issue, who's gonna pay if that person does end up in
If
the
it's-
hospital? I know, I didn't get a chance to read completely.
Commissioner, it is Summit County, it's in the agreement as well.
So,
Some of the section D says they will reimburse all costs for medical services.
so you're gonna be able to break that out when somebody has to go to the hospital,
Right.
that the hospital is going to bill you, and then you guys will break that particular episode out and send Summit County the bill?
Well,
For all the costs involved,
Right.
not only your time and your deputies, but the cost of the medical care?
Right, because with Jonathan, with the company, he can do that. We're only liable for he's liable for the first $5,000, and we take the bill over after $5,000. So we would work with the hospital and tell them you have to bill Summit County, that would be the issue. Not saying that it wouldn't happen, I just think it'd be a very slim thing to happen.
We would also have the ability, Commissioner, to release them back to Summit County. That states in here in the agreement that at any time with notice, we can simply tell them, you have to take this prisoner back, it's your responsibility. But it is my understanding in the contract that they would cover the medical expenses, as well as if our deputies had to stand by and guard them for a period of time, they would pay an hourly rate for that as well.
Okay, I have a couple other questions. So this is not an overflow issue. If I heard you correctly at the beginning, it's because of their budgetary problems in Summit County.
Correct.
Because they don't have a sales tax and because they're cut at the sheriff's budget. Is that a correct
Commissioner, I
statement?
don't know that to be correct.
They closed down parts of their jail due to lack of staffing.
Okay.
And what they have to do is farm people out. They're already doing it in Geauga County, not in Northern County they're using. So when they get full, so they don't have an overflow situation inside their jail, they're sharing the wealth outside the jail.
And did we use them when we were in trouble?
No, because their per diem rate,
Is what?
it used to be like $124.
And we're only gonna charge $70? Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mama Creighton has a problem with that. Sorry. You know me, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. Gentlemen, I don't dispute the fact that we need to be good neighbors, but to me, you're putting the cart before the horse, only because we do not have a new number. It's an old number that no one can tell me how long the $70 has been on the books. And in my mind, we would go back and recalculate that, and if you come back and tell me that it costs $71.50, then I will believe $71.50. But I'm having a hard time doing this when we have asked our citizens to subsidize our criminal justice system by a sales tax by having 501 beds at the jail. I know the argument, and I agree with that. If they're empty beds, let's fill them, but I'm having a problem with the $70. Okay.
The question is, do you want to fill them or not for 70, or would you like to table this matter and come back
I
with
would like
another
to
number?
table it.
What would your desire be?
I would like to
No,
table
Because
it.
you raised,
Yeah.
both sides of the point there. Commissioner?
I agree. Until we get more information.
Do that.
Yeah.
I would entertain a motion to table this resolution with the request to the Sheriff's Department that you as quickly as possible, because we are supportive of the basic concept. I think if we have basic beds to utilize and at least them out and cover some of their costs for our taxpayers by leasing them out, that you develop as quickly as possible the current actual per diem cost of those beds.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to table the map. Is there any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will await additional input from you.
Okay, Commissioner, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask you.